What's good, guys? The Novice back with another review. Umbrella Academy Season 2. Right, quick Season 1 impressions. There's a rainbow outside. Sorry, tangent. Quick Season 1 impressions. Um, I don't care for Umbrella Academy as a show, to be honest. Season 2 is good, but my main issue with the show from Season 1 is that to a fault, the family drama is something that it was the only thing that kept me going throughout Season 1. I understand it's trying to be more complex and it shouldn't be watched just as like a pure superhero show. So in that sense, it's not necessarily for me. But I don't care for people always telling me in some adaptations, oh, the world's more complex than good and bad, than so and so. It's through the father raising them, through like how they're damaged and all that stuff. Sometimes I just want heroes and villains. Sometimes I just want well-trained heroes who are well trained with their powers and other skill sets, and vice versa with the villains, or the equivalent with the villains. And I want good boss fights. It feels like a show from parts of season 2. I'll get to it. It is a better mix in season 2. But parts of season 2 and season 1 broadly gave me that impression like it's a bad thing to want the kind of things that I want going into superhero adaptations. That they have to be less Sam Raimi, more Jessica Jones season 1. Do you know what I'm saying? And I've never really cared for that personally. But season 2, I love. I don't know. I really like. And then by episode 10, I love. And I get to why. It's a better mix of that kind of world building that I want to see. The really weird, like, how, wait a second, how is that person, how is this, that the thing that makes you go like, what, that makes you tilt your head. Boss fights, more boss fights, yes please, that's what I want. And more like stuff to do with their powers, because obviously they've already established who they are in the first season, so there's less pretense. And there's minor things that I like too. I'll go over the minor things that I like, that are good, and then I'll just go character by character. The minor things I like that this, even more so than season 1, was a bingeable show to me. This is a really good show to binge if you're like me, and you yearn for that stuff that you typically associate with superheroes, like well done storytelling as far as the action and the choreography is concerned, like well thought out world building, like the strange and weird stuff, like people with like interesting powers. You see how they get to use it in a certain situation, but not necessarily to the point where it makes them invincible. I like that mixed with the family dramas, and the internalized issues as well as external, right? And what else do I like? I like that this show demystifies certain things about people from certain backgrounds. I won't get into it explicitly, but it has to do with people's, or can I say without spoiling it? Yeah, it has to do with people's sexual orientations. And this isn't a spoiler because they established this in season 1, but Klaus obviously is one of those people, right? He's gay, or maybe he's bi. They established that in season 1. That's not a spoiler. And they explore him partly, and then some other people. But I like that this show is working to like normalize that, because I don't always see it as a culture wars. Sometimes people just want those stories to be told to, like I said, help demystify it, normalize it, because it's interesting to see that perspective. Lastly, what other thing is like a minor thing that I like? Oh, you know what? Yeah, minor things I like that you learn a bit more about the dads this season. Is like you learn a bit more, but he's still a big mystery, and I like that. There's some things that I can't say, but there's something I saw with him. I was like, whoa, really? So you want to see behind the curtain, but it's almost like they make you afraid. Like, don't look behind, don't do it. Oh, you saw like 3/4. No, not 3/4. You saw like a quarter. Oh shit! I love that. That's well done storytelling. I'll give them that. Then now I'm just gonna go character by character. So I'll start from the least likable to me still in the family to things that I really like and so on. But like I said, I like the boss fights. I don't like them with Luthor. Luthor still, first and foremost, I don't understand this guy's power set and his range because he does stuff that is like non-dangerous but still like a fight, and it makes me think: is he just so well trained that he's holding back and he's doing this certain thing, or is he just so bad at what he does and the writing is so that it doesn't care to clarify? Is it such that you have scenes where he just does things that just make him seem like a slightly strong human? Yeah, I feel that way watching the show. Like, there's such a, not in a good way, there's such a like unclear position on, does this guy actually have super strength? And he's just too dumb to understand how to truly harness his power and his skills? Or is he just an idiot who's just an idiot and who's slightly stronger than the average human? In that case, you ain't shit. You're not even Captain America. You're just there. But as a character, I do accept that he does seem a bit more mature by the end of the season. Like, he's one of the few people that actually doesn't sacrifice at a certain point. He doesn't sacrifice doing certain things for his own self like interest, and I really like that. So I'll give Luthor that. He emotionally matures, but he's still Luthor. You know. Next, Diego, also another dumb human, or superhuman technically. Yeah, superhuman. It's just again, just like Luthor, I don't think this guy truly understands. He could be so much more powerful if he just trains. There's something. Speaking of episode 10, I said earlier that I really like that episode. I love it actually. He does something in episode 10 of us, and I was like, "You can do that! What the heck?" I was how all this time. Oh, you suck. Oh, you should be so much more. You suck. It's just Five and Vanya. So I have no true respect based on raw power alone for any of these cats, any of them. Yeah, so that's how I felt. Like, he could be so much more if he just practiced. Like, what is the true extent to his powers? Because I thought it was just, oh, I curve a knife. That's all I am. I'm a budget Batman. Uh, but I will accept again that Luthor, he has a storyline, and you see a noticeable change in his emotional maturity by the end. I love that. I admire that. Next, Allison. Allison is another one where her powers. Oh, this is where deconstructing superheroes actually comes in handy, because her powers are interesting. She could test her powers and see the extent to which they go, but we all know what her powers are. She can compel people. In the wrong hands, that's Kilgrave from Jessica Jones season 1. In the right hands, it could be Allison, it could not be. And there's a moment in this series, or actually there's a storyline involving her, where someone even points this out to herself, like, wait, why don't you just use your powers all the time? Think of the kind of stuff you could make. Forget just your personal change in your life, big change. But then you learn why and why it's so important. This show is clearly about mental health and how you need to be socially, not just socially responsible and have that kind of great power, great responsibility kind of mentality, but more specifically, you need to just be like emotionally healthy in order to have powers at all. Even as a villain, you, boy, unless you're just like Dark Phoenix, just going ham on everyone, or like even Vanya at the end of season 1, then that's just, you're just a destroyer. You're nothing else. You know what I mean? But even as a villain, I'd say that. And Allison's a good example of that examination. And I'll say I like her as far as that examination goes in season 2 and that kind of storytelling. But outside of that, she's just like, to me. I don't hate her. I don't dislike her. I don't love her. I like her. She's just, she's likable, but she's nothing special. Next. Klaus. Klaus, the only reason why I like him this season is because of Ben. Ben, I can't say how, but Ben is an MVP. He's one of the MVPs this season. I want to shout him out. And Klaus, again, is another person. He should have been lower on the list, actually, in a way. But it's just through Ben, he's higher than Allison. Allison's in the middle. But Klaus is someone who, through Ben, we see this in season 1. That's why I mention it. It's not necessarily a spoiler. You realize that he has underestimated how powerful he could be. And Ben is a mirror reflection of that. Like, he's obviously a reminder because he died on some mission that no one knows about. But he's obviously like a physical, like in-your-face reminder of what happens when you don't learn to kind of like have all the tools in your belt, control all that stuff. Also, like metaphorically, his interaction with Klaus just reminds you could always do more. You could always be more than what you are. And people sell themselves short. But Ben doesn't, and I think obviously he's dead, so he has a lot more perspective on the kind of sanctity of life. But yeah, Ben is one of the GOATs this season. Speaking of GOATs, shout out to Vanya. I'm gonna give her like a slow clap. I like her arc this season, both as a just when it comes to any general storytelling that has nothing to do with powers necessarily, and even with her powers as she's growing. No spoilers there. I liked what they did with her at the very end of season 1. Like, oh yeah, I love the villain look with the white and all that stuff. I think they did her justice. I really disliked, here's a flaw this season. I really thought it was convenient how she starts off this season and like how she started off this season 2, and like 2/3 of it up until maybe the last third of season 2. I feel like they did this in I was about to spoil what happened to her by comparing it to someone else. They did this with another character in another in a Marvel property that I watched, where this character is at a point where they could just go like wreak havoc, but then something happens where they very conveniently, where something else happens. I'm being too cryptic, but I don't want to spoil it. That's why. In other words, Vanya's good this season. I really like her. I really like Ellen Page. Maybe I'm just biased. I understand why she has top billing, not just because of the fame, but I like her a lot. I like what they do with her. And obviously more from her too. She seems like a kind and loving person who just wants to help people, and just felt hurt because, as you know from season 1, she was held back. But she can be more, and she knows that. That's what I like about her. And speaking of people that know they can be more, and they don't take their powers for granted completely. Mr. Five, my favorite guy in the Hargreaves family, Umbrella Academy, whatever you want to call it. I still love him. Um, my flaw with him this season is something that he actually, by the end of season two, this is why I love episode 10. There's a big reason that's coming up, but he's one of the reasons that I love episode 10, because he does something that is such a clue to where his arc's going, that he's someone who has physically matured so much, because he lived his life out for years before the start of season one, but he's had a lot of growing to do, kind of internally too, believe it or not. You see this in season two, where he doesn't just seem like a dick who's kind of putting his nose down at everyone because he's technically the oldest one. He is someone who, yeah, I felt like he has that emotional kind of intelligence where even though he doesn't explicitly show it, he does care. But there's something about him, I can't put my finger on it. Like, as a person, he just seems like he's more willing to look at his insecurities and how that may affect him in terms of his power set and grow through that. And if someone says something to him like, instead of doing something this way, why don't you just like take baby steps? You know what I mean? I'm trying not to spoil it. There's a certain line and they put it this way to 5. Like, why don't you just take baby steps? Just go like a little bit, And he listens to that person. I'll just put it that way. And it's spectacular to see. And I hope he practices more. It's partly something to do. I don't want to spoil it, but you can guess it's something to do with his power set. And I hope he grows more with it. Because he don't need that briefcase. He don't need to be like with the Time Commission. They're holding him back. I feel like they. Speaking of the Time Commission, woo! The handler, also a GOAT this season, in my opinion. My flaw with her is that, oh, okay, I can't say. I can't say. Yeah, just keep watching. Yeah, I like her. Her storyline makes me feel like the dad in the Umbrella Academy, his family, he is not the only one that knows about the kind of weird world he lives in. There are other people in the commission, because the commission in season 1, it just seems like all they know is to attack people based on certain events and keeping the timeline in order. But it feels like there are players on this chessboard, like the handler from season 1, who know more than they let on. And they are very, the puppetry. I love puppet masters like Tommy and even Polly Shelby, arguably in Peaky Blinders, Gustavo, Walter White too, in his way. I love puppet. And the dance, I love it. And it's because of someone who's her chess piece, you could say, that I love. And she's great. She's great. The handler is great. Yeah. Through someone that she uses in season 2. I'm being so cryptic. Through people that she uses in season 2, she uses 5 in a way. And she tricks people and she seems so nice. But also she seems about her job. I love that about her. Yeah, so to end it off, Vanya, 5, the handler are my favourite parts of season 2. Alison, meh. Also Ben is good. So I guess Klaus is slightly higher, but he's still an eh. But yeah, Ben, Vanya, 5, and the handler, the goats. Everyone else is either meh or no, not really. And that's pretty much it. But you guys tell me what you think down below. Did you like this season? I certainly did a lot. By the end, I loved it. The barn fight, that's one thing. There's a reveal when you get to it. I'll give a hint. Anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than you. I'm not gonna say what that's a reference to because it's not a song that's a part of the soundtrack. I'm just saying. When you realize what I'm talking about by the end of this season, you're gonna go like, oh, holy sugar pack. Shout out to season 2 Umbrella Academy. I love it. Yeah, I do love it. Yeah, I'm gonna say I love it. Yeah, because of episode 10 just did it for me. I want every episode of season 3 to be like that. Yes, please. All day, every day, in my belly. Tell me what you think down below. Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Or you just had some issues with it? I certainly liked it a lot. I want you to tell me if you would watch it based on this review. If you were like kind of wishy-washy about season 1, like I didn't really care for it. And other than that, please like this video if you think it's good. Check out my other videos, feel free to. And that's it. Signing off. Later.